Okay, let's dive right into this really frustrating situation that the original essay talks about. This feeling of being totally stuck.
Yeah, completely stuck. Even when you have the skills, you know what you want.
Exactly. Like Sarah in the essay. She's qualified, knows she needs better pay, wants out from under this micromanaging boss,
Hmm.
but she spent, what, 3 weeks just staring at a blank cover letter?
Just paralyzed, scrolling probably while that cursor blinks. It's this classic gap, isn't it, between wanting the outcome and starting the action.
And the contrast with our coworker Jake is just so stark. He's maybe less qualified, right?
Yeah.
But he lands this great new job.
And why? Because he got mad, he was annoyed, maybe felt a bit slighted, and just, channeled that into applying, I'll show them, 12 applications out of spite.
Which tells us really that this deep dive isn't about needing more talent or waiting for some lucky break.
No, not at all. It's about how we handle that gap. It's about being willing to be a bit messy, maybe adjust our expectations, and sometimes, yeah, use fuel that isn't exactly positive.
Yeah. So let's start with that first big hurdle, the one the essay calls the motivation trap.
Ah, yes. This is such a common pitfall. We tend to treat motivation like the weather.
Like it's something that just descends upon us or doesn't.
Precisely. You wake up, it feels cloudy inside, so you think, well, guess I can't do anything today. I'll wait for the motivational sun to come out.
And you end up waiting forever, basically, stuck.
Totally stuck. The essay argues we need a complete mind shift here. Motivation isn't this external force you wait for, it's more like a muscle.
A muscle, how so?
Well, it gets stronger when you use it, especially, and this is key, when you least feel like using it. Think about brushing your teeth.
Okay.
You don't wait until you feel genuinely thrilled about dental hygiene, right? You just do it.
Mhm.
Because the alternative cavities, pain, big bills is way worse than 2 minutes of just doing the thing.
Right. The action itself isn't exciting, but the consequence of inaction is the motivator.
Yeah.
And doing it builds a tiny bit of momentum.
Exactly that. But okay, even knowing that, there's still this huge resistance we feel sometimes. Why is it so hard to just start?
It feels like swimming upstream, doesn't it?
It really does.
Yeah.
And that's biological, fundamentally. Our brains are wired for efficiency and, well, avoiding perceived danger. Change, even good change, represents the unknown.
The unknown feels risky.
Inherently risky. It takes more energy, there's uncertainty. So the brain often defaults to the devil you know. The familiar discomfort of your current situation, your stuckness, feels safer than the uncertain discomfort of trying something new.
So that just do it
Right.
advice kind of bumps up against our basic wiring.
It absolutely does. Which means if we want to get moving, maybe the first thing isn't just pushing harder, but looking at what we're actually pushing towards. What's the target?
Right. Questioning the goal itself. Are we aiming for the right thing?
Exactly. So, you listening, what are you really aiming for? The original essay points out that most of us default to these generic, almost externally imposed goals.
Like the classic, lose 20 pounds, make 6 figures, start my own business. Things that sound good.
They sound impressive, yeah, like Instagram goals. But they often lack that deep personal connection, that why, that keeps you going when things inevitably get tough.
So what's the alternative?
Getting really specific about the feeling or the experience you want. Maybe it's not lose 20 pounds. Maybe it's I want to feel strong enough to carry my groceries up 3 flights of stairs without feeling like I'm going to collapse.
Okay, I can feel the difference there. That's tangible.
It is. Or maybe it's not make 6 figures, but I want to be able to book a weekend away or pay for that dental work without that knot of anxiety in my stomach when I check my bank balance.
Those goals connect to real life, to actual emotions and experiences. When you hit a rough patch, you remember that feeling, not just some abstract number.
Precisely. It makes the goal stickier, more resilient. But there's another side to this standards problem, isn't there?
Yes, aiming way too high, way too fast, the all-or-nothing trap.
Oh, definitely. We get this burst of enthusiasm and decide to completely revolutionize our lives overnight.
Like, I haven't worked out in a year, so starting tomorrow, I'm going to the gym for 2 hours every single day.
Exactly. Or, I hate my job, so I'm quitting tomorrow to become a full-time painter. It's ambition disguised as self-sabotage, really. You burn out in, like, a week.
So the advice here is start smaller, way smaller.
Start with a standard you can meet consistently, even ridiculously small. The goal initially isn't some massive transformation. It's just building the habit of keeping promises to yourself.
Building that trust muscle, maybe.
That's a great way to put it. Build trust through consistency first. Once you have that momentum, that feeling of, hey, I actually follow through, then you can gradually, gently raise the bar, Small wins chip away at that big resistance.
Okay, so we adjust the goal, we adjust the initial standard. But what if even that feels like too much? Where does that initial spark come from, especially if positive thinking isn't cutting it? The essay brings up, well, getting a bit petty.
Aha, yes. Unconventional fuel. Let's go back to Jake.
All right, mister, I'll show him.
His motivation wasn't some zen state of self-improvement. It was raw annoyance. It was spite. And the essay argues that sometimes that's exactly what you need.
Why does that work, though? It feels counterintuitive.
Because strong, sharp emotions like spite or frustration can act like a bulldozer for your brain's usual roadblocks.
How so?
They cut straight through the overthinking, the perfectionism, the "is this the perfect time?"
Yeah.
questions. When you're driven by proving someone wrong or just pure defiance, you tend to bypass all that mental chatter and just act. You move.
It forces you out of analysis paralysis.
Yeah.
But, I mean, is that sustainable? Relying on anger or spite? Seems risky.
It is risky. That's the crucial warning here. Spite is like rocket fuel. It burns incredibly hot and incredibly fast.
So it gets you off the ground, but it won't keep you in orbit.
Perfect analogy. You cannot build a fulfilling life sustained purely by anger or resentment. It'll burn you out. The key is to use that initial, powerful burst of emotion only to get moving.
And then what?
And then you immediately channel that momentum into building systems and habits. Jake used his spite to apply for jobs. Great. But then he needed to use that energy to, say, set up a system for tracking applications, schedule time for interview prep, refine his resume.
Got it. The emotion starts the engine, but the system keeps the car running once the fuel burns off.
Exactly. The systems sustain the effort long after the initial emotional fire has died down.
Okay, this is all really practical, but we absolutely have to talk about the big exception here. What if you're dealing with something deeper, like clinical depression or just soul-crushing burnout?
Yes. Thank you for bringing that up. It's vital. All this advice about taking action, using spite, pushing through, it can be completely counterproductive, even harmful, if you're genuinely operating with zero capacity.
If you're running on empty, pushing the accelerator harder just breaks the engine.
Precisely. We have to acknowledge that not everyone is starting from the same place. If you're in what the essay might implicitly call capacity debt, the priority isn't productivity, it's rest and maybe just survival.
And these states, depression and burnout, they often come with these really powerful negative stories we tell ourselves, don't they?
Oh, absolutely. They have their own insidious narratives. Depression often whispers or shouts that nothing matters anyway, so why even bother trying? It attacks meaning.
And burnout.
Burnout tells a different, equally paralyzing story. It says, you already tried everything. You gave 110%, poured your heart out, and it still wasn't enough or didn't work. So why would trying again make any difference? It attacks your sense of agency.
And when you're in it, those stories feel like absolute reality.
Completely true. So in that state, the goal has to shift dramatically. It's not about achieving big things or even medium things. It's about tiny, deliberate acts. Acts that serve as small rebellions against those overwhelming narratives. Things that remind you, even in a whisper, that you still have some control, some sovereignty over your own experience.
Like what kind of acts are we talking about? Give me examples from the essay's perspective.
Really basic things that restore a sense of dignity. Taking a shower when it feels monumental. Walking around the block just 5 minutes. Cleaning one tiny area, not the whole apartment, maybe just clearing off your nightstand. Texting one friend back.
These aren't about career progress or life goals.
Not at all. They're about proving to yourself, I am not completely powerless. They're small acts of resistance that keep the pilot light of self lit, even when the main furnace is off. It's about preserving yourself.
This focus on small wins, even micro wins, ties into the last big idea, doesn't it? Redefining what progress even looks like.
It really does. Because our culture is just obsessed with the big dramatic transformations, right? The before and after photos, the overnight success stories.
The 50 pounds lost in 6 months, the startup that explodes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Makes for good headlines.
Good headlines, bad expectations. Real, meaningful, lasting change is almost always slow. It's messy, it involves setbacks, it definitely does not photograph well.
It's the daily grind, the showing up when you don't feel like it.
Exactly. And often we dismiss our own messy progress because it doesn't look like the highlight reel. That workout where you only managed 15 minutes, you might think, ugh, that doesn't even count.
But it does count.
It absolutely counts. That 15 minutes is reinforcing the neural pathway for the habit. It's building consistency. Or that awkward conversation where you tried to set a boundary and you fumbled your words. You might feel like you handled it badly.
Yeah, beat yourself up about it.
But actually, that clumsy attempt is the practice. It's necessary groundwork for getting clearer next time. The essay puts it beautifully. What feels like failure or futility on the inside often looks like essential incremental growth from the outside.
Which leads right into the comparison trap. We see someone else's shiny end result,
Their curated highlight reel.
and we compare it to our own messy, behind-the-scenes struggle. We forget all the unglamorous, imperfect steps they took to get there.
Your messy progress is the path. Imperfect action beats perfect inaction every single time. Being willing to move, even when you're not ready, even when it feels awkward, that seems to be the real difference maker.
Okay, so let's pull this all together. If someone listening is feeling stuck, what are the key takeaways from the original essay, the kind of core principles for achieving that strategic messiness?
Right. 5 key things. First, stop waiting. Just start. Start before you feel ready, before you feel motivated. Action is what creates momentum. Don't wait for it.
Okay, stop waiting. Second,
Second, get clear. Figure out what you actually want. Not the generic goal, but the specific feeling, the specific experience. Make it personal and tangible.
got it. Clear personal goals. Third,
Third, use dark fuel, but carefully. Acknowledge emotions like frustration or spite. Use them for that initial push, that burst of energy, but immediately channel that into building sustainable systems and habits. Don't try to live on it.
use it, don't abuse it. Fourth,
Fourth, adjust capacity. Be realistic about where you are right now. If you're burned out or depressed, the goal isn't massive progress, it's tiny acts of self-preservation and agency. If you have energy, use it, but build up gradually. Match the goal to your reality.
makes sense. And the last one.
And finally, fifth, redefine progress. Embrace the mess. Understand that small steps forward, even wobbly ones, are real progress. Messy action is infinitely better than perfect inaction. Give yourself credit for showing up.
Stop waiting, get clear, use dark fuel wisely, adjust capacity, and redefine progress. It really paints a picture of needing to give ourselves permission to not have it all figured out before we start.
That really is the core of it, isn't it? The people who get unstuck, who make real changes, are the ones willing to move forward into the uncertainty. They're willing to be imperfect, to look a bit clumsy, to fail forward.
So maybe the final thought for everyone listening is, what if accepting the messy, imperfect, sometimes frustrating art of being human isn't a barrier to change, but actually the essential key to unlocking it?
Exactly. What if starting messy isn't just okay, but it's the only way it actually works? You move first, and the clarity, the confidence, maybe even the motivation, they follow the action. If you embrace the mess, you might already be halfway there.